I think when we feel tied up and suffocated within the cage of rules and regulations, then our heart seeks the most for the new rays of hopes. I totally feel the same. These limitations might force me to close the physical doors of my house, but it silently opens up the myriad doors and windows of my heart and soul, as if my heart is engaged in sorting out the rations for my inner assessments that I had stored and accumulated. I'm trying to understand the calculations and relationship of the known and unknown. There is a great dilemma in these calculations. But these dilemmas are the actual source of contemplation for mind and heart. Seems like there is an incessant game that is being played within me every single day. I actually don't know always what is happening or what is there, but I can feel that there is a lot stored in there, and this is a wonderful feeling. This is a moment totally new for me. One side of me is trying to keep up with what I usually do, while other side is trying to deal with new situations which drive me to different personal responses every time. These constant changes are very challenging for me mentally. 1 month ago, my reality was so different from now, and the month before last month. It is so confusing for me. Sometimes I feel like being on an unreal scenario, like in the film The Matrix. Other times I feel like I am in a dream, or that what is happening, is all surreal. Some days I even think it is better when I am dreaming, because I have freedom to meet anyone, to be outside. What is reality then without freedom? I think while I write these lines. I feel trapped, reduced, limited to the outside world, but it is maybe a sign for me to look more inside myself. It is perhaps a life test that I need to do. I realized I was already in quarantine before the quarantine. After years and years of watching apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic movies and playing video games, this was not really a kind of pandemic I had in my mind. I'm also happy that it is not as bad as how it goes in a movie either, but secretly it makes me wonder more about how a real deadly pandemic would affect our lives. Although I already knew the things that this outbreak was supposed to teach us before, like the importance of freedom or uselessness or pseudoscience or making plans in life, it's enormously exciting to see how the bacteria or viruses rule the world. From this point of view, fighting against a form of life that was here long before we evolved is something really thrilling, and knowing that they will be on Earth even after we will be extinct makes me think more deeply. I noticed that the world is better when we mainly need to focus on one thing and have one purpose in life, waiting for something that can kill you to the end. Also, I liked how the virus cleaned the dirtiness of the media by showing only itself all day long. I'm fine. Everything is all right. This situation is a little bit different than what I have ever imagined or experienced. But still, everything is fine. When we only heard the news about China, I didn't feel the weight of the thing yet. I may still not feel the true seriousness of the thing. Nor was it the virus that frightened me at first, but the idea of isolation. My last half year had been very hectic, with lots of difficulties, some pain and despair, but mostly strength and positivity. I didn't have a boring day either. I kept going somewhere, working or having fun, and I was among people. I didn't want to lose that momentum. That's why I was in doubt when the universities were closed and the events were cancelled and the home office had been introduced. Finally, it didn't get that awful. I have no reasons to complain. I still have a job. I continue my education and I can create art. I just have to do everything at home. Anyway, I didn't have much more time. I save 1 hour a day for the traveling, but somehow that time is also consumed by the increased online consumption, which I feel is just a slow-motion shuttering version of the face-to-face talking.
Day after day, night after night. Last week was the same as this week, and the next week as well. The days slowly went by. The worries seemed meaningless. Everything went lazily. The cycles of one day just repeat regularly as if it will never end. There is no difference anymore in the term of time. The emptiness filled my mind fully. The nostalgia and sadness now become hallucination. It is not real. Probably I don't need to wake up every morning because I'm dreaming all the time. Perhaps there is no need to go to sleep because the darkness is always there in every corner of this cramped room.
I think 13 days being quarantined in a hospital room and almost 4 weeks being quarantined at home has changed me gradually. I miss many simple things like licking an ice cream when I am crossing the street amidst the crowd. I miss to fit myself in the crowded tram. I miss to have drinks with my friends when we are sitting around the table and having conversation about our hopes and hopeless future of life. These are the very, very simple moments that I miss in my life while I'm stuck in my house in these long, boring days without any excitement. My daughter will come to this world soon, and how difficult it would be to tell her our story of this time. Is she going to believe me that I miss holding a glass of coffee and walk in the street? I never thought that this would come ever to such a situation, but it was just a matter of time. Now, when the time came, Europe was not ready. This virus does not discriminate against anyone special, but all. People with 2 lungs, people with 1 body. All are same for it. It doesn't depend on any race. Poor or rich, it doesn't matter. This makes us realize that in this infinite world, we human are tiny creatures. Now I understand and feel how we need borderless associations. Now work and connection all are based on virtual relationship and contact. What if all the energy and electric power breaks down suddenly? What will happen to us then? This is the longest time I have lived away from home.
I miss my family a lot. This time brings my time to myself, where I develop, meditate, and focus on my inner world.
The pandemic exposed a reality that was conceived in times of normalcy. While unexpected, it provided us with catastrophic scenarios that expose the failed underlying mechanisms of our society and economy. The pandemic forces us to envision new perspectives and makes it hard for us to make plans for the future. It is, however, a small glimpse of the consequences we could face together as a species in case governments don't reverse their contributions to the climate crisis. Between the past and present moments of loss, where there is no time, no place, I feel as if I am in an abandoned building, vibrating whenever I walk on the ground and threatening me to fall at any moment. Looking for a gate, I want to go out to where the sun is. Just a reflection of light as a geometric drawing sneaking in through my window. There is a great longing for myself, my mother, for my father, for my brothers, for a plain window that I did not ride to take me back to my home, to my bed, to my toys, and to my childhood dreams that time has failed. To keep me protected from this unknown infectious virus, of course I'm also abiding the rules and have confined myself with my family at home. Amidst this unseen, unapprehensive fear which mounts up, the silence of anxiety prevailing outside, I found intimacy with every corner of my home, with my touch, as if every part of it reverberates with life. I sense this strange and bewildering opposition of the inside and outside. The death beckoning of the outer world and the sense of new life indoor is, of course, that I am always feeling every moment. Definitely, the credit of offering such a precious feeling totally goes to this virus. I feel I'm happy. I think I needed this. I have always craved for this seclusion, an ultimate time for myself, where I can discover the needs and urges that my inner soul has been seeking and silently announcing, and that I had overlooked for a long, long time. Only I didn't want this at the stake of crisis that the world faces now. I feel contented. I feel secure with myself. I never had that craze for outward happiness. Rather, I loved being surrounded by my quite a few needs, emotions, and loved beings. I miss seeing them. I miss home. This is the only thought that eats me up from within. This weight that keeps me waiting throughout the year. Now it seems to fade away. Still, I'm happy. I'm safe, active, motivated, energized, and inspired. More than usual, surprisingly. Maybe that's why I'm so happy. We are doing well, and we are working very hard for it. After the panic of the first days, after reading the news every hour, after losing orientation and troubles with separating the real from illusion, I did think of my priorities. First priority is her well-being. She can make us both so desperate when she's anxious. Second priority is his well-being. I can cope up with myself, hopefully if I'm nervous, but not with others. If he's anxious, he can make all the three of us miserable. Third priority is my exams. This is not too much. What comes after, we will see after. I went back to the routines I had when she was a baby. A short time daily should be enough to be alone. I miss being alone. We are doing everything in very small steps, very slowly, very cautiously. It feels hard to talk to your loved ones as diplomatically as if you were on a business meeting. I feel as if one wrong move could ruin everything. Even so, sometimes I feel anxiety is quietly spreading between us like a virus. We all try to keep it to ourselves, not to infect the others. Sometimes suddenly I feel sad and hopeless. I have a terrible feeling of loss. I need to cough all the time and I'm awfully scared. And then another day comes. I started to forget how normality used to be. Normality was actually as absurd as now, wasn't it? The now just highlighted the absurdity of the previous normality. I feel so sleepy today. There was a new leaf on my ivy today. The plants are helping me to feel the time. The plants and the dishes. I missed work because I thought today would be tomorrow. Instead of hangover, I got migraine on my birthday party. 8 hours of party. It almost felt like work, sitting on my chair. Sometimes it feels good, this whole lockdown. I just miss declining the invitations to go out. I feel good. Maybe it feels better because I stopped checking the news, or maybe because I'm just sleeping. The self-quarantine calmed me down. I feel so well in the isolation. It seems surprisingly I don't need anyone for my everyday life, except my husband. So it's a beautiful and new feeling. I feel free, loved. I'm healthy and stable in many ways. I learned how to take care of my plants, and I feel they like me, which is also a new experience. I figured it out what to do with my future, how I want to live my life. I needed time for these things. How interesting it is to feel free during this lockdown situation, isn't it? The main concern is to think about regular daily activities like sleeping, eating, and the desire of making love. Everything locked down in a different situation. The body is trying to adapt this situation and the mind is trying too. This conflict leads me to a different stage where I have no idea. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm depressed, or sometimes motivated. But all of these things are happening so fast. It is really difficult to follow.
I realized
This is a
I think
moment
when
of
we are
truth
doing
where everything
everything
feels
right
right
and
until
feel
one situation
Sometimes suddenly I realize I have terrible fear of